Good evening, Chevra. Today is Rosh Chodesh Sivan, the first of Sivan. And I guess we're dipping into the second day of Sivan tonight. Since we already counted Sphira, we're going to count tonight's Sphiras together. So we just counted. We're going to do it again. Hayoim Shisha V'Arbaim Yoim Shehem Shisha Shavuos V'Arba'a Yomim Leimer. Tonight is the 46th day, which is 6 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. And tomorrow we'll repeat this count as we are into the 46th day. We're on page 82 in the Chayenu, and we're beginning a new chapter, Perek Nun Gimel, chapter 53 in Tanya. What? Last chapter. Okay. First, a quick overview of chapter 53. Previously, it was explained that the Shekhinah is revealed in the world through the garment of Torah. On every level, this indwelling revelation is manifest accordingly. In this chapter, the focus is on the variation of Shekhinah revelation in the two temples, in the Beis HaMikdash first and the second, and how it is manifest today when there is no temple. How? Through action-based mitzvahs. This chapter concludes with deciphering the metaphor of the prodigy from chapter 35 about how the body, the vital soul, serves as a wick for the flame of the Shekhinah, the godly soul. In today's lesson, in the first Beis HaMikdash, in the first temple, the tablets which contained the 10 commandments were the resting place for the Shekhinah. This godly revelation bypassed the order of downward gradation of evolution of tzimtzum, of contraction, being manifest godliness. So that's what we're going to discuss here. And the Alter Rebbe explained in the previous chapter that the light of the Shekhinah, an illumination utterly transcending the realm of the world, must have a garment which enables it to radiate there. The garment of the Shekhinah is Torah. In every world, there's found the intellect of that particular world, namely the spheres of Chochmah, Bina, and Das, otherwise known as by the acronym Chabad, of that world. They constitute the shrine of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies, in which the Shekhinah resides. After the levels of Chabad in which resides the Shekhinah descend into the level of Malchus, of a particular world, the creatures of that world can then and are then created. By vesting itself in Malchus, moreover, the light of the Shekhinah is then able to descend into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies of the next lower world. The Alter Rebbe explained this process as it applies to all worlds down to and including the spiritual world of Asiya. Page 82. At the time that the first Beis HaMikdash stood, in which in which the ark and the tablets were housed in the Holy of Holies. The Shekhinah, which is Malchus of Atzilus. It is the revealed light of the eternal light of Hashem, a light which intrinsically is infinite and transcends all the worlds, and which nevertheless was revealed in them. So what there? Shoyr Hashem dwelled there and was enclosed. Was enclosed in the 10 Commandments, the tablets which were engraved upon the tablets found in the ark in the Holy of Holies. And they dwelled there and were enclosed in the 10 Commandments far more intensely and with greater and mightier revelation than its revelation in the Holy of Holies in the upper worlds. So imagine, even greater than the revelation in the upper worlds were the 10 Commandments, the holiness of the tablets which were housed in the ark, which were housed in the Holy of Holies, in the Beis HaMikdash, on the Temple Mount, was the tremendous revelation, even higher than the spiritual worlds. And what was it higher than? The worlds of Asiya and Yitzirah. For even in the world of Yitzirah, the Shekhinah illumines only insofar as it previously was clothed itself. It was clothed in the shrine of the Kodesh HaKadoshim of the world of Bria. The level of Shekhinah manifest in the first temple, in the Beis HaMikdash, however, though it too was manifest only through having been first been enclosed in Malchus Abriya, was less completely concealed. Again, was more revealed even after this concealment. Therefore, the illumination in the first Beis Hamikdash was still on the level of the world of Bria and not Yitzira. Okay. The Alter Rebbe now answers the following question. Inasmuch as the temple was located in this physical world, how is it possible for the Shekhinah to be found there to a higher degree than the more spiritual worlds? So he answers as follows. The Ten Commandments included the entire Torah. As explained in the Azaris of Sadia Goin, that the Ten Commandments incorporate all 630 mitzvahs of the Torah. Even though there's only 10, but they incorporate all of them. See the beginning of chapter 20 in Tanya also touches on that. The Nafka Begoy Chachmayla, the Le'ela Me'olma Diskalya. So the 10 Commandments, which encompass and embrace all the Torah, which derives from the level of the supernal Chachma, meaning the Chachma of Atzilus, that is far higher than the world of manifestation. Balma Diskalya. It's far higher than Malchus of Atzilus, which is called the world of manifestation because it reveals the light of the Ein Sof to the worlds. It could be the world of revelation, but it's called the real world of manifestation. Like it manifests there. As explained earlier, for this reason, the Torah is able to act as a garment that does not become nullified in the light of the Shekhinah, which garbs itself in it since its source is higher than the Shekhinah. However, in order for the Torah to act as a concealing garment, it must descend lower than the level of the Shekhinah, thereby enabling the light of the Shekhinah to be received by created beings. However, as Torah descended into the Ten Commandments engraved on the tablets, it did not do so in a manner that would make it similar to other physical things. Rather, as we'll soon explain, it remains on a level which is higher than the previously mentioned upper worlds. The luchais avanim gashmim leyardav madrega lamadrega kederech ishtalshul l'saylemes adaylam azak gashmi. In order to engrave them, the Ten Commandments, on material tablets of stone, what is it? Supernal Chachma, which is Torah, the entire Torah, not just what was written on the stone, did not descend degree by degree parallel to the order of descent of the world, the normal order of things, which descends from stage to stage, from the higher worlds to the lower worlds, until it reaches this world. Generally, in order for a divine flow to arrive at this physical world, first it has to descend from one world to the next, coming down through the worlds of Yitzira. The first Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya, both are higher. But this was not the case when it came to the luchos, the tablets. Ki oilam hazak ashmi, misnaig, mislabshus hateva hagashmi. For this material world functions through the garb of material nature. While the tablets, most things function according to nature, but the tablets are works of Hashem. They were so magical and spiritual in nature. You know, you would look at the tablets and you would look at the other side and you would see the same thing. Usually from the back side would be backwards. It wasn't like that. It was miraculous in nature. You know, imagine how heavy they were. They were light. They were floating basically. They were glowing. They were floating. It was a spiritual manifestation in the physical world. Michtav Elikimu, the writings is the writing of Hashem, writing in which godliness is perceived. Somehow it was able to be perceived. That was part of the miracle, that we could see the writing on the tablets. Anishba me'oras hashchina shebehecho kachkidoshim da'asiya shemenimshach oir v'chayis leilam asiya shegam leilam hazeh v'chlali. Beyond these tablets were beyond the nature of this material world, which is derived from the radiation of the Shechina in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies of Asiya, from which light and vitality issued to the world of Asiya, in which this physical world is also included. So the ray of the Shechina, which is in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies of Asiya, gives this physical world its vitality after first being garbed in Malchus of Asiya, as we've explained previously. But this was not the case with the tablets. There was a lechatchila, there was a leapfrog. It was like completely circumvented this whole order of the way we receive the light and the vitality of Ein Sof. And the beginning is Chachmei Lo Datzilus. She klolus hatayra shebiyud hadibris. The slabsha b'malchus datzilus the bria levadon. The level of the supernal Chachma of Atzilus consisting of the totality of the Torah as it is encapsulated in the Ten Commandments, clothed itself in Malchus of Atzilus and of Bria alone, and did not clothe itself further in the lower worlds. They alone, Chochma of Atzilus, as it is garbed in Malchus of Atzilus and Malchus of Bria, without further vestment, united as they are with the infinite light of Hashem, the Or Ein Sof, that's within them. Hein, and they're called Hein Anikros b'Shem Shechina. They're called Shechina. Ashoira Mikotche Kedoshim L'Bayis Rishon. This was the Shechina that rested in the Holy of Holies in the Beis Hamikdash, the first holy temple, through it being vested in Al Yidei Slavshusan Biyud HaDibris, through being invested in and clothed in the Ten Commandments. Kakukais, Baluchais, Shaba'orin Benes, which were engraved by miraculous means in the tablets which rested in the Or in the Ark. So they were miraculous in nature. Also the dimensions of the Aron, was the same. How could it fit? It didn't. Nothing made sense in the Holy of Holies. Well, some things made sense, but it was such miraculous phenomenon that it had to be a miracle. As the sages tell us, the letter Mem and Samach, circular letters hewn through the entire thickness of the stone, stood in their place miraculously. When you have a Mem and a Samach, a final Mem, and a Samach, so it goes around, and when you engrave, so there's going to be a what do they call it? The donut hole, right? The donut hole comes out, and then you make donuts out of it, but otherwise there's a hole in the donut. So here, but it would stay exactly where it was supposed to be, never moved.
And the piece of sapphire, if you read it from the relief, you're looking in reverse, it would be in reverse.
It would be the correct way, exactly. Moreover, the Ten Commandments upon the tablets were the work of Hashem, Elikim Chayim, the living God. Behu Olma Diskasya Hamakanin Ba'olam Habriya. This being in terms of the Sfiras Bina of Atzilus, which is known as the concealed world, which nests in the world of Bria, as is known to the students of the Kabbalah. We can ask Dr. Miroff about it later. So those familiar with the Kabbalah know that Bina of Atzilus radiates into the world of Bria. And that's a world which still remains in the category of a concealed world. Alma Diskasya, meaning it is categorized as a world, but not a world whose independent being is revealed, in that the world of Bria is aware of how it is wholly dependent on God. Interesting. The takeaway for today, Chavra, is that the Ten Commandments, the Aseret Dibros, given to us at our Sinai, we're about to receive the Torah once again on Shavuos, this Thursday evening, Friday morning. Thursday evening we stay up, and then Friday morning we receive the Torah on Shavuos. So these Ten Commandments incorporate all the mitzvahs of Hashem. They're all derived from God's wisdom. And this divine light was miraculously embedded within the physical tablets that Moshe brought down from heaven. Now, what does this mean to us, by the way? The physical tablets are still here. We don't know where they are. We don't see them. So what? They're still here. Godly, and as we said before, that the 10 tablets incorporated the entire Torah. Right here. We have an Aron Kodesh. Maybe it's not it doesn't look the same as the luchos that were engraved, but it's still very much here.